Hey, Shalom Akim Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors into the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Always in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a quick lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be quick. This kind of piggybacking on what we were talking about the other day as far as the nuclear strike or the nuclear preparations. What do you call it? Those emergency broadcast things, man. This is kind of follow up to it. Okay, public service announcement, PSI. Says New York offers residents suicidal nuke attack advice while U.S. pushes Putin into multi-city first strike nuclear attack to destroy America. Okay, this is the time of war. This is the time of pestilence. This is the time that the Lord's judgment will be able to commence on the planet Earth, man. Okay. If you go into the scriptures, I believe it's Jeremiah the 50th chapter, 51st chapter. It goes into the rumors that comes upon Babylon year after year after year. And the main rumor is war, because what Yahweh Shai said, wars and rumors of wars. Okay. So it says here, New York City has released a new public service announcement video that advises residents what to do after a nuclear strike on the city. The laughable video almost appears to be a Babylon. Ooh, shit. A Babylon B parody. See, this is, the Lord is speaking, man. Okay, it says appears to be a Babylon B parody, which Babylon means confusion. And in fact, America is Babylon Great. It says, as it offers residents what can only be described as a suicide checklist. Oh, man, that was the most pathetic shit I've ever seen, man. That video was just fucking comical, man. Unreal. Somebody should put a beat to that shit, man, and do a freestyle to that, because that was a pathetic video. That's the best that you people have to offer for the most popular rundown city in the world. Okay, by far, New York City is probably one of the most popular city in the world. Like, you go to Shanghai, you go to Morocco, you go to Beijing, you mention New York City, New York City, y'all, New York City, they know. Okay, because that's a very popular city. That's like fucking the capital of the goddamn world, man. All right, and that's a damn shame. This is the best that they can do, is give you a minute and 34-second preparation video on what not to do. Okay, because everything she said to do in that video was polar opposite as to what you should do. Talking about going to house with everybody ain't got homes, but even then, going to the middle of the building. How the hell is that type of advice going to prevent you from getting nuked? That shows that these people over here is a joke, and they don't believe it can really happen. But a lot of people was on edge about it because, you know, all the tensions and so forth with this whole Russian-Ukraine thing. Eventually, America's going to get involved in World War III. Brothers, we can see, bro, Esau can be at war with Esau as little as this year. America and when NATO enter that war, when they enter because they already have 300,000 troops are ready to be deployed to combat all-out war in Ukraine. Okay, but this is going to be that war that's going to start the end of everything, man, because somehow, some way, the Israelis is going to get involved in it, which they're already in it. Okay, but hey, something is going to happen that the Most High is going to switch the chess moves, and bam, that's what it is. All right, it says here, a suicide checklist for dying in a nuclear attack. It says the joyfully presented video advises residents to go into buildings and undress, then shampoo and use soap to wash themselves off. But if a nuke hit Manhattan or New York City, there ain't going to be any washing off. There ain't going to be any particular going to take a bath. There ain't going to be no Netflix and chills. It's going to be totally obliterated. Okay, there's not going to be a city. It's going to be obliterated. Okay. It says the joyfully prevented video advises residents to go into buildings and undress, then shampoo and use soaps to wash themselves off. Once done, residents are told to stay indoors. They act like this is a fucking, like a tomahawk missile, or they act like this is a grenade or some type of grenade launcher that nuked the building. No, this is nuclear artillery, you know. But once done, residents are told to stay indoors and to directed what to do by government media sources. Sounds like a quick way to die. Exactly, because these people are going to die. And this is the Spirit. I actually pulled this map up, or someone like it the other day. They give you a blast radius of the East Coast. got Newark, New York. You got Newark. You got Ridgefield, Fort Lee, New York. Okay. You got Hoboken. You got Elizabeth, Bayonne, Brooklyn, Jamaica, Queens. Shit, man, they all in trouble. All right. And on top of that, the water supply systems would be poisoned if a nuclear weapon went off and you was able to, quote unquote, survive it. The waters would be poisoned. The oceans would be totally toxic. So the drinking supply of water, it would be totally jacked up because it's where they get their water from, the ocean. Okay. But it says this advice presumes that buildings will still be standing, that running water still works, and that the internet and media broadcast stations are all up and operating. The assumptions are absurd, right? But the scriptures say the wise men and Teman, okay, the wisdom is leaving Esau. Okay, his wisdom is leaving him because that was and then you had a nigga woman out there, which that's another mockery to you black women that put your faith in his kingdom. He put a so-called black woman, I believe she was a woman of color if I'm not mistaken. I can play the video again. But they put a fucking black woman or a woman of color or appears to be of color to make which show you that they make fucking mockery of you dumbass women out there. All right, you're the epitome of stupidity at this point. I don't care how you feel about it. But it says the following blast radius map from onenuclearsecrecy.com reveals just 1 megaton nuclear strike will produce a fireball. Okay, and they say that nuclear missiles have over so many billions of megatons or TNT involved in it. So 1 fucking megaton and 60 to 70 to 100 million megatons in a missile. What the hell you think that 1 nuclear warhead could destroy this whole goddamn society, man? If they want to be technically honest. And that's gonna be the fate of this place. That's gonna be end game of this trash hole we in called a society. This place needs to be destroyed as in yesterday, man. So you Jakes out there, man, that's playing games, just wake the hell up, man. Stop playing. But just 1 megaton nuclear strike will produce a fireball, the yellow zone, and engulfs most of Brooklyn, Harlem, Bayonne, the west side of the course of all lower Manhattan Island. Just from 1 blast alone, an estimated 1.7 million people will be instantly killed and 3.1 million injured. That does not count the effects of the radiation fallout, which will kill several more billion or million. Okay? It begs the question, what buildings does the New York government think that are going to still be standing after direct hit with a nuclear warhead? And they always talk this psychobabble about, oh, well, they're not targeting the cities. Bullshit. They're targeting Babylon. Okay? The whole thing of the nuclear missile launch intent is to kill. Okay? It says, what buildings does the New York City government think they're still going to be standing after direct hit with nuclear warhead? But how are people supposed to take showers when there's no functioning municipal water system? Duh. How are people supposed to listen to media when there's no internet and the local media offices have been turned to rubble, right? Because amidst nuclear attacks, here comes blackouts. It says even more shockingly, the New York City video doesn't even mention iodine as a protective measure against thyroid damage stemming from iodine 131 exposure. It says, but the whole thing comes across as a suicide checklist rather than a legitimate collection of survival tips. Okay, so we're going to watch it here, man. I'm going to watch it again because this is just comical. Look at this.
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why, just know that the big one has hit, okay? So what do? There are 3 important steps that I want you to remember. Step 1, get inside fast. You, your friends, your family, get inside. And no, staying in the car is not an option. You need to get into a building and move away from the windows. Step 2, stay inside. Shut all doors and windows. Have a basement? Head there. If you don't have one, get as far into the middle of the building as possible. If you were outside after the blast, get clean immediately. Remove and bag all outer clothing to keep radioactive dust or ash away from your body. Step 3, stay tuned. Follow media for more information. Don't forget to sign up for Notify NYC for official alerts and updates. And don't go outside until officials say it's safe. All right, you've got this.
What a joke. But even then, just the fact that they even thought about putting this out shows you the state of the world. People on edge from that, man. That shows you the state of the people. And I'll see if you was talking about 3 or 4 states away. But even then, they're just like, still, that blast gonna reach there. Okay, the fallout, nuclear fallout. I mean, yeah, but still, in the direct city of Manhattan or upstate New York was to get hit with a direct strike. Ain't nobody gonna survive that, man. Okay, especially if you ain't in the truth or if you ain't of the Lord's elect. And I'm gonna say it like this: if you are not of the elect and you're still left on the shores of America when this happens, you will get hit. You will be destroyed. Okay, this judgment will reach you. Okay, so matter of fact, let's get a precept real quick, because I got a couple of precepts lined up, because we can go into this all day. But this is the book of Zechariah 14, and I'm gonna start at verses let's start at verses 11. It says, and men shall dwell in it, but there should be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem should be safely inhabited. Okay, the Israelites. But it says, and this should be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh should consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes should consume away in their holes, and their tongue should consume away in their mouth, man. Okay, and that's going into what they call a nuclear strike, like Terminator 2. That shows you the perfect ideology of what happens when something like that happens, like the movie The Knowing, the end game of the movie The Knowing. You know, Lord's will, I'll post that clip at the end of the video. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike, but that shows you there through the spirit that, hey, these are the times we're living in. Okay, so going back to the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter, it says, blow you the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mount, and let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord cometh, and it is nigh at hand. Okay, a day of darkness and of gloominess, and a day of clouds and of thick darkness. And the morning spread upon the mountains, and a great people are strong. There have not been the ever like, neither shall there be any more afterwards, even to the years of many generations. Why? Because World War III would be the war to end all wars. Okay, this would be the war. Armageddon would be to end all wars. So while that war is being fought in the Middle East, they're going to shoot those rockets over here to the United States and different parts of Esau's conglomeracy. Okay, so it says, if you increase the nuclear yield to 100 megatons, well within the capability of Russia's largest nuclear ICBMs, you'll get a fireball that extends nearly to Trenton, New Jersey, while engulfing Stamford as well as about half of Long Island. Casualties would number over 8 million instantly, while another 6.7 million injured, and the radius of the fireball is 6.1 kilometers, man. Okay, so it says, good luck with trying to find running water in this scenario. It says, lack of surviving, and all if you were anywhere near ground zero, okay, which is where the nuclear strike will hit. Okay, so Wormwood, got a drink. Matter of fact, Revelation 8 and 11. So this is the book of Revelation 8, and I'm gonna start at verses. Let's start at verses 7. It says, then the first angel sounded, and that followed held in fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and a third of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up, man. Okay, going into your vegetation. Okay, and it says, and the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood, and a third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third parts of the river, and upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter, man. Okay, so what the hell are you people talking about? And he had an excellent point. Mike Adams, a good point. The waters is not going to be any particular sanitation systems out there to even give you clean drinking water, you know, municipal systems and so forth, which municipal goes into the city. Okay, so it says Russia's issues warning to the West about nuclear escalation, but according to an announcement published by the Russian news agency, the USA is pushing Russia into a cycle of nuclear escalation that could end in catastrophe. It says as Russian Foreign Minister spokeswoman Maria Zakharova stated, after provoking an escalation of the Ukrainian crisis and unleashing the violent hybrid confrontation with Russia, Washington and its allies are dangerously teetering on the brink of an open military confrontation with our country, which means a direct armed conflict between nuclear powers, because they both gonna shoot them off. America gonna shoot rockets too. But clearly such confrontation would be fraught with nuclear escalation. It says, notes to the key points of this statement. The assertion is that the West is provoking an escalation of the crisis in Ukraine, which they are, because they set up Nazi Ukrainian soldiers that was actually trained by the NATO, which is actually their top tier force. Okay, those troops that's aiding NATO or aiding the Ukraine are under NATO guidemanship. They're like the top tier. They're like the SEALs of the world, and they can't even do anything with Russia. Okay, those NATO trained troops in the Ukraine, they will put the American army to shame. Okay, this is their top men, and they're getting devastated, and Russia is not even using a third of their firepower. So that shows you that you meatheads, you fucking jarheads over here, you in big trouble. You ain't got the training nor mental fortitude nor yet discipline to even stand up against a superpower like this, and let alone nuclear. And then half the United States military is damn women. Half of them are feminists, and then the other half of the men that's in that folly are straight momos, man. You got transformers or transmissions in there. Fucking transmissions are going out on you. You people are in trouble, man. The Lord set this place up perfectly to be wiped out. Okay? Maybe those type of World War II devils may have had a chance, but you're right. It says that such confrontation will seemingly end in nuclear escalation. This can only mean the launch of the nuclear missiles. But remember that Russia has vastly superior nuclear striking capabilities and anti-air defenses compared to the United States and European nations. And on top of that, Russia's military doctrine describes a first strike advantage, which means Putin knows that if this war is irreversibly headed into global conflict, his strategic advantage is best exploited if he strikes first. Now look, Russia's land-based missiles, right? You got the SS-21, okay, Skarab, okay, which slash Totka, which is 120 kilometers. It says the SSN-26 Stobau, okay, Yakunt, 300 kilometers. You got the SS-26 Stone, Iskander, 500 kilometers. Then you got the SSC-8. Then you got little Satan 2 that's able to house over 10 warheads, which is 2,000 kilometers. Then you got the SS-19 Stiletto, UR-100N, 10,000 kilometers. You got the SS fucking 25 Sickle, the Sickle in the Harvest, that's scriptural. Topol, which goes 10,500 kilometers. And then SS-27 Sickle, damn, SS-29. And then you got the SS-18 Satan. Then you got the SSX-30 Satan 2, which is 10,000 kilometers, man. So what the hell you gonna do? How the hell you gonna fucking... It's done, man. This is gonna be the war to end everything. This is gonna usher in the 80 Yahweh Shai. This is the event that's gonna have to take us off the planet Earth, man. Because if not, we will get caught up in its destruction. Okay? But it says Russia's military doctrine also requires striking with overwhelming nuclear superiority from the very first moment, meaning such a scenario will likely not be limited to small tactical nuclear strikes on a battlefield. But most likely a strike will target 10 plus key U.S. cities and military bases, which all you idiots out there say that, oh, no, they're not going to target the cities. No. 10 plus key U.S. cities. So you got Washington, D.C., first and foremost, New York, fucking Chicago, Miami, L.A., okay, Dallas, Denver, Atlanta, Seattle, okay, all these major cities. You better believe of the first major cities that's on this list of being destroyed is definitely New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and L.A. Those are the first four to go, okay? They're going to take them cities out first, then Dallas and so forth, okay? And fucking, I wouldn't even read it, and it said it right here. That's the spirit. I wouldn't even read it, and it mentioned here. Okay, but it says here, reducing those areas to radioactive rubble. It says you could be certain that Washington, D.C., and I didn't even read this, Houston, Denver, Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, Miami, and Chicago are also on the list. That's the spirit. I just spoke through the spirit, and I didn't even see that down there because I wasn't even looking at that. But that's the spirit, man. So Yahweh Shai is dealing with that, man. He's dealing with this war. It says Russia's missile can easily reach all targets in the northern hemisphere. It says the Samurai 2 missile system has hyperglide vehicle re-entry units that can easily evade all known anti-air defenses possessed by the United States. It says there's no defense against Russia's missiles, man. Okay, and we reading it right here in Joel, the 2nd chapter, and it proves that the scriptures do not lie, man. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is cold blooded because we're reading it here. Okay, and it says here, it says, a fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burneth, and the land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing should escape them. Man, nothing is going to escape these nuclear missiles, man. It says a garden of Eden before them, right? Because, like, things are going to appear to be normal and great, you see, but then right when the nuclear missiles hit, all this shit is going to be reduced to rubble. Because, like, when the nuclear missiles hit New York, in Chicago, you're going to still have business as usual. Sun is going to be out, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's going to sweep everything with the besom of destruction, man. All right, it says the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and horses represents power. And of horsemen, so they shall run. Like the noise of the chariots on top of the mountain shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame that devoured the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their faces, the people should be much pained, because people going to literally give up the spirit from shock and grief and fear. All right. And all faces should gather together blackness. And why is that? Because when these missiles come over the horizon, it's going to be like a thunder, like a cloud, man. It's going to be like a shower, and it's going to block out the sun, especially from the detonation of these missiles. You see what I'm saying? So everything is going to go dark, like the scripture referred to it as like the day of the dawn, so to speak. Like coming upon the horizon, like when the sun comes out, it's going to be light, but then it's going to get hella dark. And it says, and they should run like mighty men, and they should climb upon the wall like men of war. Wall represents your defense systems, okay? Now, look, going back to the article, it says there's no defense against Russia's missiles, okay? And it's not, man, you know? And it says here, and they should climb the wall like the men of war, and they should march everyone on his ways, and they should not break their ranks, neither shall one thrust another, and they shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they should not be wounded. Right, the sword is this place, man, this Edomite. And they should run to and fro in the city, and they should run upon the wall, and they should climb up upon the houses, and they should enter in at every window like a thief, right, because they're going to bypass America's defense systems. Okay, there ain't going to be nothing that you can do with them. And it says, and the earth should quake before them, and the heavens shall tremble, and the sun and the moon should be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining, man. Okay, and that's the point, because when these missiles hit, it's going to be pitch black over here. Everything is just going to go to hell, go to shit. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executed his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide in it? Right, man. Okay, so there's no coming back from this, man. You people are going to be destroyed. All right, so it says corrupt, insane U.S. officials are practicing escalation, not deterrence. But as I point out in my podcast below, this seems to be the goal of Barack Obama and Biden's other handlers, who have long sought to destroy the United States by any means necessary. Because of this treasonous, destructive agenda, U.S. officials are not practicing deterrence, but rather determining escalation into nuclear conflict. But in my analysis, there's little question that Biden's handlers want the United States to be destroyed in a multi-city nuclear attack. But all the key decisions involving Russia and the Ukraine are driving towards this single goal. Note that the Democratic-controlled areas like New York City are giving their residentials a suicide checklist to make sure that the maximum number of people die on a nuclear strike. Right, because you people are extendable, man. You expendable. All right, and this is a pretty long article. I'm not going to go through it all, but I will post a link in the description. But hey, just get down to some real nitty gritty. You know, this is serious, man. You know, because they want this place to be destroyed, and it is going to be destroyed. Luckily, man, I pray to you how this takes place soon. Okay, so this is the book of Revelation 9, and I'm gonna start at verses 14. It says, "And the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loosed 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates, and the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay a third part of men. The third part of men are you Edomites." It says, "An army of the number of the horsemen were 200,000, with 200,000. And I heard the number of them, okay, and those are the nuclear missiles. Those are not angels. It says, "Thus I saw the horses in a vision, and them that sat on them. having a breastplate of fire and jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the head of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. And by these three was the third part of men killed by fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone, which were issued out of their mouths, right? Because you got the blast, you got the nuclear fallout, okay, the radiation, you got the besom, the sweeping agent, etc. It says, for their power is in their mouth and their tails, and in their tails, for their tails are like unto serpents and heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, which means the people that was on the other side of the world, because America is going to be totally destroyed, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils or idols of gold or silver and brass and stone, and the wood which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither they repented of the murders, nor their sorceries, nor their fornications, nor their thefts, okay? Because, once we get let down out of those ships, we're going to go on a prowl, okay? We're going to find you Israelites out there that's misbehaving towards Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? So this is the book of Revelation 16, and I'm going to start at verses 19. It says, and that great city, which is America, was divided into three parts. And the city of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before Yahweh, to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and not the mountains were not found. And there fell upon the men a great hail, which are the missiles, out of heaven, every stone about a weight of a talent. And men blasphemed the Most High because of the plagues of hell. For the plagues of hell, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Why is that? Because, the missiles, man, is going to burn them up. All right. Another precept here. This is the book of Revelation 11. And I'm going to start at verses 13. It says, in that same hour, there a great earthquake, and a 10th part of the city fell. That great earthquake is going into the nuclear missiles. The scripture said the earth shall rock to and fro like a drunkard. And the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, which is a complete number of men. And the remnant were frightened and gave glory into the power of heaven, man. Okay. And at that same hour, we're going to be delivered, because if you go a verse before that, it tells you we were called up into a cloud, which shows you that we're going to ultimately be delivered during that time, man. Okay. Because if not, we're going to get caught up in this shit. And I don't want no parts of this. And I know you brothers, you don't want no parts of this either. You know, I want no parts of this whatsoever. You know, Isaiah 40. Oh, there's Jeremiah 49. When it goes into the least of the flock, should jolt them out. But this is Isaiah 34. And I'm going to start at verses 1. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all them therein, the world and all the things that come forth of it, right? Because, we're speaking of these things, okay? The Lord said, hearken unto these plagues that's getting ready to come. Take heed to it. But people are all flabbergasted by social media, you know, their appetites and so forth. You know, they're not paying attention to what the hell is happening. Though few people are on edge about what's happening out there in New York, whatever, with that broadcast. But overall, man, these people, they're just gonna get back to their regular lives. They're gonna do the social media, you know, they're gonna try to spend the money up, you know, bread and circus until the nuclear to this shit happens. And that's cool though, because the scriptures say it's gonna take them unawares, you know. But anyway, going back here, it says, we are watching a death cult actively drive America into an empire ending that will see the total destruction of the United States of America. And they know, Esau knows this place is going to be destroyed. In fact, as I pointed out on my podcast, I believe the treasonous leaders of the Pentagon will order a nuclear stand down, even as Russia's missiles were arriving on target. Why? Because the Pentagon and the U.S. State Department are now run by such and such, child grooming, such and such. And that's the reason why it's going to be destroyed. Who are doing the bidding of Satan. See, he owns something, man. They want maximum destruction of America, and they won't authorize a retaliatory strike against anyone. Now, peep this, right? Let's get another precept real quick. Forbade to fight. Let's get that. Forbade. No, not forbade. Salakia, man. I ain't ate nothing all day. My mind is a little all over the place, so Salakia. But we gonna proceed. Forbade to fight. Retreat. That's in Jeremiah the 50th chapter. Retreat. I'm tripping. EAT to holes. What the fuck, man? Man, this thing tripping. The retreat is in the scriptures. Forbade. Man, this is some folly, man. I guarantee you this in the script. Matter of fact, let me just find it real quick. It's in Jeremiah. I didn't feel like looking for it, but anyway, we're gonna look for it anyway. Jeremiah 51 and forborn, Salaki. I was off. So anyway, this is the book of Jeremiah 51 and 29. Matter of fact, it's 28. It says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. Okay, going into the Russians. It says, the captains thereof and all the rulers thereof and all the land of his dominion, and the land shall tremble in sorrow. Hey, look, he just said it here. He says, why? Because the Pentagon and U.S. State Department are now run by undesirables, transmissions, child grooming, such and such, who are doing the bidding of Satan. They want maximal destruction, okay? Period. And look what it says here. It says, the land shall tremble in sorrow, and for every purpose of the Lord shall he perform against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitants. Okay, so that whole video that she put out about surviving, you're not going to survive this, man. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight, meaning that they gave up. They said, nah, it's too much. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They became as women, okay, which proves the point that most of them in the military are doing a whole turnover thing. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean. It says they might have failed. They became as women, which shows you women are fickle. It says they have burnt our dwelling places. Our bars are broken. And one post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken on one end. Wow. And the passages that are stopped with the reeds, they have burnt with fire. Men of war were affrighted. Damn. Boy, hey, he's seen this in a vision. He saw the little World War III, the destruction. He saw the missiles going off. Okay, brothers, this is exciting times, man. This is not a time to get weak. This is it. Okay, anybody that don't see it, man, then that's on you. Okay, but Yahweh Shai is giving us key indicators that what we're saying is the truth. Okay, this thing is getting ready to come to pass, and hey, if you don't see it, then that's on you. All right, it's on you, because hey, we're trying to get on that raft. We're trying to get on that ark. Lord's will we be found worthy. Okay, because hey, brothers, if you've done everything you can to stand and you rejected MOTB and you still in this thing strong in the end with faith, the Lord don't have a choice but to deliver you. He's not going to pass over you with those ships. You're going to get delivered, but you got to keep your faith until the very end, man. You can't waver. Okay, even if you see the chariots coming, you see the missiles and you ain't get picked up yet, you better hold on. Continue to hold on, man. Okay, just pray like, look, Lord, I got to get out of here. Like, remind him, like, I've done everything you've told me to do. And if you eat a missile out of all that, then shit, that means that the Lord just didn't choose you. And I mean, that can happen in certain cases, but I don't see that happening when it comes to the sincerity of brothers, man. I don't see that happening as far as when brothers have gave they all to this truth. But you other Jakes out there that's playing games with this word, you going to get caught up in this, man. You know? But it says here, it says, they want maximal destruction of America, which we all do, and they won't authorize a retaliatory strike against anyone. Besides, the terms requires both nuclear powers to be run at rational people who seek the preservation of their own population. But even if they did come to a truce or a halt, things are going to be so jacked up over here, they won't even be able to rebuild. Okay? But it says here, seek the preservation of their own populations, yet the leaders of the U.S. have actively engineering a mass death of hundreds of millions of Americans via deadly such and such food shortages, energy infrastructure sabotage, and climate engineering. They want us all to die, which means there's no incentive among Americans leaders to deter nuclear war in the first place. No, okay, because they're going to be hiding in bunkers. But it says, but if you live anywhere near a major U.S. city, understand that you are in a target zone and you are living under a legal enemy occupying regime that wants you dead. It says they are using Russia as a proxy to nuke America and murder hundreds of millions of people, and they're using Ukraine as a proxy to provoke Russia into launching nuclear missiles against American cities. By launching nuclear missiles against America, in other words, Putin will be carrying out the bidding of Obama and Biden's handlers. And this is why every American needs to get out of the cities. But the scriptures say, though, you that run to the holes, you're going to still hide us from the holes. You're going to still get caught up in there because, hey, the elect, we going to grab you up, you know. But anyway, how to survive nuclear war? We don't even need to read that because you ain't no surviving that unless you are the Lord's elect. So, Mike Adams, you going off on that aspect, buddy, because you ain't even going to survive it, bro. All right. So it says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations and his fury upon all armies. He have utterly destroyed them. He have delivered them to the slaughter. Okay. Their slain is also be cast out, and their stink should come upon their carcasses, and the mountain should be melted with their blood. And all the hosts of heaven should be dissolved, and the heavens should be rolled together as a scroll. And all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falling from off the vine, and as a falling fig from the tree. Okay. Because the mushroom cloud. It says, for my sword should be bathed in heaven, and behold, it should come upon down Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made with fatness and fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, while the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath sacrificed a sacrifice in Basra, which is modern day America, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Okay, this is basically an altar. Okay, this is basically an altar that the Lord is using as a pivotal sacrifice, man. Because you can see these people that are made to be taken, they profit nothing, you know. That's why it says, and all the hosts of heaven should be resolved, and the heavens should be rolled up together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down like the leaf that falleth from the falling fig tree. Okay, and that's basically telling you about the nuclear destruction, man. Okay, it says, for my sword should be bathed in heaven, which the sword is the nuclear missiles. Behold, it should come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse to judgment. Who is the people of the curse? Esau, Edom. The sword of the Lord is spilt with blood, made fat with fatness. Okay, and I'm reading it again. With the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. And Yahweh have sacrificed in Boza, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. A great slaughter. Because if you ain't of the elect, hey, majority of the people over here, they going to die, man. And it says, and the unicorn should come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land should be soaked with blood, and the dust should be made with fatness, which is a sacrifice. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of the recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And streams thereof should be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof should brimstone, and the land thereof should become a burning pinch, and it should not be quenched night nor day, and the smoke thereof should go up forever. Revelation 18. From generation to generation, it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. Okay. But the cormorant and the bitter shall possess it, and the owl also, and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it line of confusion and a stone of emptiness. And the reason why it says the line of confusion, because you're not going, when you fly over this place, you're not going to see the dividing lines of the state. You're not going to be able to tell Missouri from Illinois. It's going to be one big desert. So you're not going to be able to see the borders of the states like Cali, how they have outlines of Texas. Okay, how the lines are outlined is just going to be one big desert. So you're not going to be able to see the borders from Missouri to Illinois or to Kansas. Okay. And they should cast out the nobles thereof into the kingdom, but none should be there. And her princes shall be nothing. And thorns should come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortress thereof, and it should be inhabitants of dragons in the courts of owls. And the wild beasts of the desert should meet with their wild beasts of the island. And the satyr should cry to his fellow, and the screeching owl should rest there and find herself a place to rest. And there shall the great owl make her nest and lay and hatch and gather under her shadow. And there should be vultures also be gathered, and every one her mate. Okay, so that's the point, man. That's the point we're talking about. It's going to be straight up emptiness here. And this is what Mike Adams is going into of a nuclear strike. That's what's going to happen. The prophet saw it in a vision. That's why it says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None of these prophecies are going to fail. It says, none shall want our mate. For my mouth it had commanded, and his spirit have gathered them. And he casted a lot for them, and his hand divided upon them by line, and they shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. Okay, but hey, none of these things shall fail. All right, brother. So Salakia, man. It's all over the place, man. Just, getting my mind back on track. But all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh. Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Lord's will, you brothers were edified, that you learned something, and were edified once again through the Spirit. And with that, I say shalom and baba.